This is big breaking emergency news. We are seeing fiber optic cables being cut in multiple different states, and police are saying that this is a quote deliberate act. We are seeing disruptions at airports right now, communications going offline, and flights being canceled from these cables being cut as well, right? This is a major attack on the United States and on our critical infrastructure, and this is happening right now in multiple different states. All right, so let's get into the details here really quick. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple times a day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news. All right, so you can see here, this is a map of the fiber optic cable network that is inside the United States. Okay, and multiple cables have been cut in multiple different states right now, and we're seeing major disruptions, right? And this is on top of all the other things we've seen this week as well. Cyber attacks on internet service providers, cyber attacks and outages of the 911 system. All these things have been happening this week, and now we're seeing another hit to our critical infrastructure, to airports, right? They're saying this attack to the airport is deliberate. What else is this? What level of criminality is this if they are targeting U.S. major airports, cutting the cables and delaying flights and cutting internet service to these airports? What level is this of attack is this? I think it's the highest level, and it needs to be taken serious. All right, and you can see here it says Sacramento airport goes no fly after AT&T internet cable snipped. And police say this appears to be a, quote, deliberate act. And this is happening in multiple different states right now. This is just one incident. We will get to the other one in just a second. And you can see here it says Sacramento International Airport suffered hours of flight delays yesterday after what appears to be an intentional cutting of an AT&T internet cable serving the facility. The airport notified passengers of an issue with internet connections at both Southwest and Delta airline facilities at SMF yesterday morning, with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office later confirming that an AT&T internet and phone line serving the airport was cut in what appears to be, quote, a deliberate act, right? So these attacks are happening. The police are even confirming it, all right? You can see here it says spokesperson Sergeant Amar Gandhi told local news sources that the sheriff's office, which provides security services for the airport, was notified of the issue at 1:30 local time yesterday. Repair crews noticed the deliberate nature of the damage when they arrived on scene. Quote, "It looks like someone who knew what they were doing," Gandhi told NBC affiliate KCRA. Quote, "So this wasn't just a couple of teenagers ripping out some wires as a prank. It looks very deliberate." All right, this is an attack. The police are warning this is an attack, and it's intentional. All right, they're not saying this wasn't a prank or anything like that. Somebody wanted to shut down the internet to this airport for some reason. All right, and this happened in another state as well. We'll get to that in a second. All right, you can see here that they haven't identified any suspects currently, right? And this comes at the same time that there were widespread 911 outages throughout the United States. You remember that multiple different states just 2 days ago were having 911 outages, and you couldn't make calls in certain providers. And the situation on that just got worse in states like Kentucky as well. You can see here it says AT&T phone service issues reported across Kentucky. All right, this is happening right now. It says many AT&T customers across Kentucky are reporting trouble with their service. It says customers are reporting spotty service and a drop signals. It says others are only able to connect their device through Wi-Fi. And you can see here it says this is what a spokesperson from AT&T said. They said, "We're working as quickly as possible to restore wireless service to customers in parts of Kentucky due to multiple fiber cuts. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate the patience for our customers. All right, so that's what AT&T is warning of as well. They're saying that they had multiple fiber cuts. So you can't just say, oh, this was some construction crew and they accidentally hit it. That's what they always try to blame it on, which doesn't make sense anyways. There's a competency crisis if that's happening as well, right? They're not just hitting power lines and hitting water lines all the time, but they're hitting fiber optic cables. And when there's multiple cuts like this at the same time, just in one state alone, that's a major red flag that this is coordinated and this is an event to shut down critical infrastructure inside the United States. And they're saying that this is possibly linked to this 911 outage as well. Okay, they were originally saying that they were potentially doing some kind of update and that was causing the outage, but now they are confirming, all right, you can see here in the statement down here that there's multiple fiber cuts. All right, listen to this video really quick. This is what's going on in Kentucky. Let me know if you're in Kentucky and you're having AT&T outages, and let me know if you're in other states and you have AT&T outages as well right now. Something's going on. This has been going on for days now, and people's service, they can't call emergency services. A lot of people can't even contact their family, their work. They're completely blacked out of telecommunications right now. This is why it's critical to have alternative forms as well. Okay, have a cell phone, have a satellite phone, have satellite internet, have wired internet as well. All right, you have multiple fail safes. They said their Wi-Fi is working, but their cell phone isn't working. Okay, so have multiple different things. The satellite internet might be working when the cell phone's not working, or vice versa. Maybe the satellites are being targeted right now, but the domestic cell lines are safe and still up. So have multiple different fail safes. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because we're going to see these telecommunication blackouts and outages even more. But this is what they're reporting on the news in Kentucky right now, really quick.
If you've been experiencing service issues with your phone, you're not alone. Several AT&T customers throughout the state having trouble using their phone service. Some customers report that they're only able to connect to their phones through Wi-Fi. The others saying their calls have been dropped. The Jessamine County Sheriff's Office says AT&T is updating their service, which is causing people to be unable to contact 911. Round County Emergency Management said the same thing. We have reached out to the company for some more information, as well as a possible timeline for restoration, but we have not yet heard back.
They originally thought, the sheriff's office, because they were saying that it's nothing with them. These 911 outages that are part of this now, some people don't have any phone service at all, right? And the sheriffs were originally saying it must be something with AT&T because it's not us. We're good on our end. It's not us. And it does seem like it's something with the cell phone providers, right? Because there could be some kind of cyber attack that's blocking these 911 call codes from going through, or there's just so many cables cut right now that it's causing traffic congestion. So now there used to be X amount of data that's going through these cables. Now that's been cut in half, and now everyone's trying to move the same amount of data through half the cables. So we're seeing major congestion of internet speeds as well, and slowing everyone down. And this is also happening internationally as well. There was a major cable cut that's happening right now in Asia, and near Bangladesh, right? You can see here, and this is due to a underwater cable being cut. This keeps happening in this part of the world. There were 5 different cable cuts in the Red Sea just last month that I covered that caused major internet outages in the Middle East and Africa and India. All right, but you can see here, this is affecting people in Bangladesh and that part of the world right now, India, Singapore, okay? And you can see here it says, internet users face trouble as submarine cables break down. All right, this keeps happening all over, and we could see our own submarine cables cut that connect to the United States as well, right? And that would cause, just like we were saying, major congestion issues for processing and sending data. And it would also potentially lock us in and not allow us to communicate internationally. And even our militaries, some of their communication functions would be wiped out if certain cables were targeted, right? And these cable systems are all over, right? This picture I was showing earlier, these are all cable systems that are underneath the ground right now, and they're building more constantly. And they also have these that connect underwater to every country on Earth, essentially, right? But they're extremely vulnerable. Nobody's guarding them, and the ones out in the sea can be targeted. You can see here it says international bandwidth usage in Bangladesh is around 5,200 gigabytes per second, and about 1,700 of that bandwidth is supplied by this specific cable, the CME W5 cable, right? And so think about it. That's over 30% of their entire nation's bandwidth, maybe 40%. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. In that range of the entire internet is going offline internationally, right? So that's going to cause major backlogs, major congestion, and just not allow the internet to work for anyone. It's the same concept where if you're at a big gathering of people, you're at a concert or sports stadium, anything along those lines, a lot of times your phone will not work because there's only bandwidth is kind of like a pie, right? They put out the pie and it's sliced up by everyone's phone. Everyone gets a slice of the pie, and the more people there are, the smaller your slice is going to be. All right, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how bandwidth operates. So when there's more people eating the smaller pie, we're all going to have slowdowns, right? So these attacks are coming. They're already happening inside the United States, and police are saying this is a deliberate cut, right? So what do you guys think is going on here? Do you think we're going to see more of this? Are you prepared? What do you have going on? Do you guys, what do you recommend for satellite internet providers? Right? Something that we're looking into right now. What do you guys recommend? I know there's some of the big brands out there, but I just want to know what you guys use personally, because that's something that we're looking into very soon to get, right? Because it's hard to get internet where we're at, and it's just another fail-safe to have, right? So thank you guys. I hope you guys are getting prepared, getting ready. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe for me to help get these warnings out. People need to know, and let me know if you're seeing this in your state as well, because they're saying this is happening all over Kentucky, right? And I think it's affecting other states too because of this slowdown thing. Probably states around Kentucky have AT&T are not operating at efficiency either, right? And you can see here as well, this is happening in the UK. This is international. This is happening all over the place. These are attacks, and the fiber optic cables are worthless. So there's no reason to say that, oh, they're just doing it to steal them. They don't steal them. They steal copper and, electrical wires and things like that. They actually do that. But these fiber optic cables are worthless. They're just plastic, and they don't steal them. They just chop them and leave. All right, so these are attacks to wipe out our critical infrastructure. And you can even see here, they're calling it attacks on UK fiber networks mount. This was an article from March 12th, 2024, just last month. It says operators beg the government to step in. It says some simply chop cables and ducts, others pour in petrol and, quote, set the whole lot alight. All right, so some people are just chopping it. Other people are digging holes to these cables, pouring gas in, All right, I'm giving you the American translation here. Pour in petrol. They're dumping gas in there, and then they just burn the cables and melt these cables down. All right. You can see here it says alternative network providers are calling for the UK government to help protect against growing number of local physical attacks on fiber infrastructure. All right. It says the group led by these groups, all right, has written to Secretary of State for Science, Innovation, and Technology asking for a review of the rules that safeguard network kits. All right. And says this is following a recent spate of attacks on fiber optic infrastructure networks around the country, which represent an emerging threat to public services and businesses, the group says. Attacks have resulted in entire streets or communities being cut off until the damage can be repaired. All right? This is happening everywhere. UK, overseas, inside the US, shutting down our airports. It's a major national security risk because we think, these cables should be insulated. They're buried underground. They're inside the US. It should attract a fair amount of attention to cut or do these things, but somehow these crimes are slipping through and are being allowed to happen close enough to Sacramento airport to shut it down. And this was also affecting people all in the region as well. They were having AT&T outages. And it's very strange that it's both AT&T. Think about it. All the way in Kentucky, on the other side of the country, AT&T cables cut. And then Sacramento, California, complete opposite side of the country, and they have their cables cut too, AT&T cables. So what's going on? Seems like there's a targeting. Why do they want to target AT&T specifically? We don't know. Maybe it's some kind of affiliation they have with some kind of organization or government body, something along those lines. Who knows? But it seems like AT&T is being intentionally, and the police are saying deliberately, targeting. So thank you guys. Get prepared, get stocked up, get your preps ready, and have multiple forms. Just have different things, right? And you probably already have that. You have wired internet, Wi-Fi. You most likely have that at your house. And then you have cell phone, probably with a different provider. Just mix it up. Keep things different, so if one goes down, you have another one. Have a satellite phone or a ham radio or something like that in the background if you needed to. You ever need to communicate. So thank you guys. I hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.